Welcome to the world of science fiction Neon's Alien. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new story from Neon's Alien universe. Snow fell like white ash from the sky. The alien girl named Rena walked slowly through the storm, her cloak wrapped tightly around her tall, slender body. The icy wind cut through the mountain pass, and her boots sank deep into the cold ground with every step. She was not supposed to be here. Her tribe had sent her to collect herbs from the cliffs before dark. But then, something strange had happened. The sky had cracked open with fire. A ball of metal had fallen fast from the clouds, trailing smoke and flame, crashing into the mountain near the sacred cliffs. The snow had turned black where it landed. Curious and cautious, Rena had followed the trail. What she found made her gasp. A strange pod, half buried in the snow, broken open. It was not from her people. It had no tribal symbols, no wings, no crystal tech. It was human. Inside, the air smelled burnt. Sparks still jumped from broken panels. She stepped carefully, holding a glowing stone in her hand for light. And then she saw him, a man, lying flat on the floor, barely breathing, blood on his forehead, his skin pale, lips cracked, body trembling. He was bigger than her, stronger, but at that moment, he looked weak, fragile, and there was something strange about his body. His legs were moving slightly, one knee bent, and between his thighs, there was a swelling, big, pushing against the tight, damaged suit. Rena blinked, confused. Was it an injury? She stepped closer. The man groaned. His hand weakly tried to cover the area, but then dropped. She placed a hand gently on his chest. His skin was burning with heat. Fever. She could feel his life slipping away. She had two choices: leave or save him. She looked at the snow falling harder outside the pod, then back at him. Rena sighed and reached down. "I will regret this," she whispered. Using all her strength, she pulled the human from the wreckage. He was heavy, but her people were built strong. Still, it took time. Her fingers turned numb. Her shoulders ached. She dragged him across the snow, heading for a small cave she had seen during her herb hunts. The entrance was narrow, hidden behind a curtain of ice. Inside it was cold, but better than the storm. She laid him down gently and lit a small heat crystal. The glow filled the cave with orange light. The human's body shook. His hands gripped the blanket she wrapped around him. And that swelling? Still, there, worse maybe. She placed her hand carefully on it. It was warm, pulsing, alive. A deep groan escaped his mouth. His hips moved slightly. Rena froze. "Is this an infection?" she whispered. Her people didn't have anything like this. Not in males. Not in any form. She had studied medicine with the elders, but this was new. She closed her eyes and focused her gift. Her species had a rare healing ability. Through touch and focused thought, they could ease pain, lower fever, or draw out poison. She pressed her glowing hand gently on the swollen area. The human's body tensed. A strange sound came from his throat. Was he in pain, or... No. She pushed, that thought aside. "This is not the time to feel shame," she said to herself. She continued the motion, slow, gentle, channeling energy. The swelling twitched. His eyes opened slightly. Blue, they locked on hers. "What are you doing?" he croaked. She didn't understand the words, but the tone was surprised, maybe even embarrassed. She pulled her hand back quickly. The human tried to sit up. Failed. He winced in pain and dropped his head. Rena moved away and sat by the fire, watching him carefully. He didn't speak again, just closed his eyes. She wrapped another blanket around his chest and sighed. "I should have left you," she muttered. But her eyes softened, and deep inside, she knew she never could. Outside, the storm roared. But in the cave, warmth grew slowly, between a lost human and a curious alien girl. Neither spoke the same language, but both had just stepped into something they didn't understand, something strange, something alive. Rena sat close to the fire, her glowing heat crystal flickering in soft, orange light. Her skin, faintly violet with a shimmer of silver under the warmth, was now dry, but her thoughts were clouded. The human lay a few feet away, breathing slowly. His face was pale. His body still shook from cold and fever, but his eyes, those strange blue eyes, they had opened for a few seconds. Long enough to meet hers, long enough to make her wonder if he even understood what she was trying to do. She looked down at her own hands. She had touched him there, on the swelling, and he had reacted not in pain but in something else, something she didn't have a word for. His face went red and his body jerked like he had been struck by lightning. "Maybe I made it worse," she whispered. Momu, her small glowing rodent creature, climbed into her lap and chirped softly. Even he looked confused, his head tilted, sensing her unease. Rena sighed. In her tribe, males and females didn't speak of the body. Touch was only for healing or for punishment. She had broken a line tonight. She had touched something sacred or maybe shameful on this stranger's body. But what was she supposed to do? Let him die? She crawled over to him again, watching his face. He looked younger than the warriors from her home, yet older than the boys who played near the fire pits. His armor suit was ripped at the chest and legs, revealing strange muscles and flat, pale skin. He had no fur, no spines, no markings. Just smooth and warm. Rena shook her head. "No. Focus," she muttered to herself. "He is sick. Not strange, just different." She took a warm cloth, soaked it in melted snow water from the firestone, and began gently wiping his forehead. The human stirred, his lips moving. "Wow, water," he mumbled. Rena blinked. She recognized that word. It was a word she had studied from forbidden human archives. Her father was a translator before the elders had banned foreign tongues. She picked up the flask and held it to his lips. He drank, not much, but enough. He opened his eyes again. More alert now. "You saved me," he whispered. Rena tilted her head. "You..." "Fever," she said slowly. "You..." "Swelling. I help." His eyes widened a little. His cheeks turned red again. "I..." "What?" She pointed to his body, lower region, then made a motion of warmth with her fingers. Her species sign for healing touch. He coughed, almost laughed, then winced. No. Not injury," he said. "It's normal. Human biology." She stared, confused. He seemed to realize she didn't understand. He looked around and grabbed a stick. With effort, he drew in the dirt, a small figure, him, then a mark between its legs. Then he drew another figure, her kind. No mark. He pointed between the two drawings. "Different," he said. "Not sickness, just reaction." Rena squinted at the drawing, then at him. Her face flushed a light pink. The first time in her life her heart beat faster without fear or danger. "I see," she said quietly. The room fell silent for a moment. Momu chirped again, breaking the tension. Rena sat back, wrapping her arms around her knees. "I touch wrong place," she muttered. The human gave a soft smile. "No. You tried to help. I appreciate that." She looked at him. His words were soft. Not like her tribe. Not mocking. Not angry. He respected her effort. She crawled forward again and touched his hand gently. "You name?" she asked. He looked surprised, then answered. "Jake?" She repeated it. "Jack. Close enough." "You?" he asked, pointing to her. "Rena." He smiled. "Thank you, Rena." For a long moment they simply sat there, the fire crackling between them, No more fear, no more shame, just two people from different stars, learning each other one word at a time. Rena reached for a small pouch of herbs and crushed them into the fire. A sweet smell rose, calming. She offered a few leaves to Jake, who sniffed them and nodded. Maybe tomorrow he would walk. Maybe not. But tonight, they were not enemies. They were not strangers. They were simply survivors. The fire burned lower, but the air inside the cave was warm now, warmer than it had been in days. Rena sat across from Jake, legs folded, hands resting on her knees. She watched him eat the soft, dried fruit she had given him. His bites were slow, like someone tasting food for the first time. Every now and then he'd glance up at her and smile. She didn't understand all his expressions yet. Human faces moved more than her people's did. They smiled with teeth. Their eyes blinked fast. Their skin changed color when embarrassed. Fascinating, Jake coughed softly. Better than military rations, he said, chewing slowly. Still tastes like sand, though. Rena tilted her head. Sand? He laughed a little. Never mind. She smiled back, even though she didn't understand the joke. There was silence for a while. Comfortable silence. But Rena's eyes kept drifting to his lower body. Not in a strange way. At least, not how she thought of it. She was still thinking about what he'd drawn in the dirt earlier. The diagram. The difference. She had spent most of her life studying biology, learning how to heal wounds, how to stop bleeding, how to use her energy touch for sickness. But nothing had prepared her for that, the swelling, the reaction, and the fact that it wasn't a wound. Jake noticed her staring. He cleared his throat. Still confused? She looked up quickly. Not confused. Curious. He smiled. All right. You want to ask? She hesitated, then nodded. I want learn, she said softly. My people. No have that. Jake nodded slowly, understanding. It's not something humans usually explain this way, but okay. He took the stick again and drew another figure in the dirt, this time labeling parts. Very simple. He kept glancing up to make sure she was okay. Rena leaned forward, watching carefully. Her face was serious, like a student in class. She didn't laugh. She didn't blush. She listened. Human males, Jake said, pointing, react to stress, cold, sometimes even touch. It's not always on purpose, it just happens. She blinked. Like, body say wake up? Jake laughed. Sort of. Or danger or comfort. It depends. She nodded slowly, repeating in her head. Wake, danger, comfort, and you? She asked. You think I was danger or comfort? That question caught Jake off guard. He paused, looked at her, and then gave a soft smile. I think comfort. Rena's face warmed. She didn't have human blush, but her skin shimmered slightly when emotions rose. A faint silver glow passed over her cheeks. Jake noticed. That means you're feeling something? She nodded. Yes, but not bad, just warm. He laughed. We're teaching each other more than language, huh? Rena smiled fully now. Yes, human, very open, direct. Not always, he said. But I'm trying. She looked down at the drawing again, then gently wiped it away with her hand. No need more, she said. I understand now. Then she added, next time I heal, I ask first. Jake chuckled. That's a good idea. Momu chirped from his cozy spot beside the fire, flipping over and stretching his legs. Rena reached down and rubbed his belly. The creature purred happily. Jake watched her quietly. You know, he said after a moment, when I crashed, I thought I was going to die. Rena looked up. But then I saw you, he continued. I thought maybe I was already dead. Or dreaming. Why? Because you looked like a spirit. Tall, glowing skin, white eyes, long hair. You didn't run from me, you helped me. Rena tilted her head. Your people, not used to help? He paused. Not like this. Not from strangers. Not without asking something. In return, Rena stood slowly and walked to the cave wall. She touched a stone near the fire, one with her clan's crest. She traced the symbol with her finger. My people. See humans as danger, she said. Old stories say humans destroy, take, burn. Jake didn't reply right away. I'm not like that, he said softly. She turned to face him. I know, she whispered. There was silence again, but this time it was filled with understanding, respect, and something small but growing. A bond between a curious healer from the stars and a broken man who didn't expect to survive the crash. The cave had become something more than shelter. It was now a place of peace. But peace never lasts long. Rena was heating water over the fire when it happened. A sharp pulse, deep in her chest. Not pain, not fear. Something else. A signal. Her people had found her. She stood quickly, eyes wide, ears twitching. Her glowing stone on the wall, etched with her clan's symbol, had just dimmed. That only happened when other tribe members were nearby. Momu chirped nervously. Jake sat up, still wrapped in the thick blanket, rubbing his shoulder. What's wrong? He asked, seeing her face change. Rena didn't answer right away. She walked to the entrance of the cave and slowly moved the stone that covered it. Outside, the storm was gone, but the snow was fresh, soft and deep, and across the white hills shadows moved, tall figures, fast, coming closer. She saw the armor, the bone helmets, the glowing spears, scouts from her tribe. She stepped back inside. Jake was already standing, weak but ready. Talk to me. Is it danger? Rena nodded. My people. He blinked. That's good? No, she said sharply. Not for you. Within minutes the cave was surrounded. 3 alien warriors entered without asking. One of them was her older cousin, Barek, a strong male with eyes like cold stone. Rena, he said in their native tongue, step away from the human. She didn't move. He is injured, she said calmly. He needs care. Barek sneered. He is human. He should not be breathing. Jake stood behind her, confused but alert. He looked at her and whispered, What's going on? She held out a hand. Stay behind. Another warrior stepped forward and pointed his blade at Jake. He will be taken, studied, then silenced. Rena stepped in front of Jake. No, she said clearly. I protect him. Barek's eyes narrowed. You speak like a traitor. I speak like a healer, she answered. He did not hurt me, he thanks me, he respects me. When your search drones passed, they didn't stop to help me. He did not leave me. And now you want to punish him for living? One of the younger warriors looked uncomfortable, but Barek's voice grew harder. You were sent to collect herbs, not to sleep beside an alien. Jake raised his voice. If you're here to kill me, you'll have to get through her first. Barek turned to him, confused. What did he say? Rena said. He said he would fight. She stepped even closer to Jake. I stand with him. Momu leapt from the blanket pile and hissed, tiny but fearless. Barek stared at Rena for a long time. Then he lowered his spear. You are exiled, he said coldly. From now your name is no longer spoken in the tribe. Your blood is cut. Your spirit left behind. Rena didn't flinch. Then I walk with new spirit, she said. With him. The warriors turned and left, their footsteps heavy in the snow. Rena stood still, shoulders stiff, her breath fogged in the cold air. Jake slowly walked up behind her. What happened? He asked. She turned, voice soft but steady. I am not part of my people now. Jake stared at her. I'm sorry. She shook her head. Do not be. I chose this. He touched her arm gently. You chose me? She nodded. I chose right. There was silence between them, heavy but warm. Jake looked at the fire, then back at her. You know this cave's not forever. I know. We'll need shelter, food, a place to live. She smiled, just a little. I already have those things. He laughed quietly. You really are something else, Rena. She looked out at the snowy trail her people had left behind, then back into the cave, where a new life had just begun. She had lost her tribe, but found something stronger. Not tradition, not rules, but choice. The snow outside stopped falling, but something new had started growing inside the cave. Not fear, not danger, but a strange warmth, one that didn't come from the fire. Rena and Jake had eaten in silence, sitting closer than usual. Not because of the cold this time, because they wanted to. Their hands had brushed twice while passing food. The third time, neither moved away. Jake looked at her fingers, long, smooth, glowing softly with her alien energy. She wasn't human, but he had stopped thinking of her as alien days ago. She looked at him too. His face had healed. The swelling in his leg was gone. His skin, once pale and weak, now held color again. He was getting stronger, and so was the feeling between them. After dinner, Rena sat by the fire holding her heating crystal. She wasn't cold, but she needed something to hold because her heart felt strange, unsettled, but not in a bad way. Jake sat across from her, arms resting on his knees. I've been thinking, he said softly, about what you did. Standing up to your people, for me. Rena looked up, expression calm. I only told truth. Yeah, Jake said. But it cost you everything. She shrugged gently. Not everything. Jake leaned closer. What do you still have? She met his eyes. You. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was heavy with unspoken words. Jake moved beside her slowly, gently, like he was afraid she might pull away. She didn't. I don't want to cross any lines, he said. Your culture, your ways. She reached out and touched his hand. You are not a line, she said softly. You are a choice. He looked at their joined hands. Her skin was cooler than his, but a soft glow passed between their fingers. Something alive. Something real. He gently turned her hand over, tracing the symbols tattooed on her wrist. Tribal, marks, history she no longer belonged to. You were marked by your people, he whispered. Now you walk with none. I walk with heart, she replied. He smiled. I can't promise I understand everything between us, Jake said, but I know how I feel when I'm with you. Safe. Seen. Her eyes softened. You feel what I feel. Momu chirped from the corner, breaking the silence again, like he always did at just the right moment. Rena laughed lightly and motioned for him to settle near the fire. Jake looked at her with gentle seriousness. What happens now? He asked. Rena stood slowly and walked to the cave wall where the shadows flickered. She placed her palm against the cold stone. We find a new place, she said. We build. We survive. Together. Jake walked beside her. No regrets? She looked at him, then stepped forward and did something neither of them expected. She rested her forehead gently against his chest. A quiet gesture. Sacred in her culture, it meant trust, it meant bond. Jake placed a hand on the back of her head, holding her carefully. No kiss, no rush, just closeness, breath to breath, heartbeat to heartbeat, human and alien, no longer strangers. That night, as the fire dimmed, they lay beside each other, still not lovers, but no longer just friends. There was no need to speak. Their warmth spoke for them. The next morning, the fire was low, but the cave felt warm. Jake woke first. He stretched quietly and turned to see Rena still asleep beside him. Her breathing was soft, Her arms gently wrapped around her small pet Momu, who purred against her chest. Her silver-white hair was loose and glowing faintly in the light. She looked peaceful. Jake smiled to himself. But peace never stays long in their world. Outside the cave, a soft vibration passed through the ground. Subtle, faint, but familiar. Rena's eyes snapped open. Jake noticed it too. "You feel that?" She nodded, sitting up quickly. "It's them," she whispered. Moments later, the air shimmered outside the cave entrance. A projection, a hologram, flickered into place. Rena's father, an elder of her tribe. His voice echoed coldly through the image. "Rena, you have one final chance. Leave the human. Return now and you will be forgiven. Refuse and be forgotten forever." Rena stood tall, no fear on her face. Jake stood beside her, confused. "What is that?" "A message," she said. "My people offer false mercy." He clenched his fists. "You're not going back." She didn't reply. She stared at the flickering face of her father, the same man who had turned his back when she was cast out. "The council says this is your only path. Do not shame your name further." Rena slowly walked forward. "Shame?" she said softly. "No. I found honor outside your walls. I found strength in a man you call enemy. I found truth where your lies used to live." "You walk in madness, Rena." "No," she replied. "I walk in freedom." The image vanished. No more warnings. No more chances. Jake looked at her. "So that's it?" She nodded. "They will not return again. I am dead to them." He stepped closer. "You okay?" She breathed deep. "It hurts, but yes." He touched her shoulder. "You still have me." She turned and placed her forehead gently against his again. The second time. "I have what I chose." Later, they packed what little supplies they had left. Rena knew a place deeper in the hills. A place no drones could fly, no tribe could reach. An old hiding spot once used by rebel outcasts. "I never thought I'd go there," she said. "It was a place for the lost," Jake smiled. "Well, looks like the lost found each other." She smiled back. As they walked through the snow-covered valley, Jake stumbled once. He was still healing. Rena caught him without a word, her hand strong in his. They didn't speak much during the journey. They didn't need to, because every step was a message. I'm not alone. I'm not afraid. I'm not going back. By the time they reached the rocky cliffside, the sky had begun to change color, gold and purple melting across the clouds. They reached a cave surrounded by thick stone and twisted trees. It wasn't much, but it was theirs. Jake dropped his bag and looked around. Well, not bad for a new home. Rena ran her fingers along the wall. It's silent here. No watchers. No echoes. She turned to him. We build from here. He nodded. Together. Momu sniffed the edge of the cave and curled up near a dry corner. Safe again. Rena walked to the center of the cave and knelt. She took out a tiny glowing crystal from her belt, a gift from her childhood. She pressed it into the earth. A soft light rose. Jake looked at her. What is that? A marker, she said. A symbol that something began here. A life? He asked. She nodded. A life. A bond. A choice. No war had been fought. No armies stood witness. But something powerful had happened. A girl chose love over loyalty. A man chose trust over fear. And under an alien sky, two different hearts decided to face the future, side by side. The stars came out slowly, one by one. Far from cities, far from ships, far from tribes and armies, the sky above their new cave glowed brighter than ever. Cold wind whispered across the mountain ridge, but inside the shelter, the fire danced, with soft light wrapping the two figures in gold. Rena sat close to the flames, her legs crossed, eyes closed. She was humming, a soft melody from her childhood, once sung to her by her mother during long, cold nights. It used to make her feel safe. Now it made her feel home. Jake leaned back on his bedroll, arms behind his head, staring up at the ceiling. It had been 3 days since they left the first cave. 3 days of silence, 3 days of peace. And in those quiet days, something strong had taken root. Not survival, not escape, but belonging. Jake turned to look at her. "That song," he asked, "what does it mean?" Rena opened her eyes and smiled. "It means, even alone, the flame is still yours." He nodded slowly. "That fits." He sat up and tossed a small stick into the fire. "You know, back on Earth, they always said humans needed warmth to live." Rena tilted her head. "Yes, your skin is soft. No fur." He chuckled. "That's one reason. But I think the real reason is different." She waited for him to continue. Jake looked into the fire, his voice softer now. "I think warmth is about connection. It's what we feel when we're close to someone who accepts us, who sees us, who doesn't leave." Rena's eyes shimmered faintly. Not from sadness, but from something deeper. She crawled closer to him and sat beside him, shoulder to shoulder. "I used to think warmth was fire only," she said. "But now, warmth is also you." Jake's breath caught slightly. Neither moved away. The silence wrapped around them like a second blanket. Later that night, as the fire lowered to glowing embers, Jake pulled out something from his old jacket. A silver pendant. Scratched and dirty, but still whole. He held it out. "This was my sister's. She gave it to me before I left Earth." Rena looked at it with gentle curiosity. "I was going to return it," he said. "But I think maybe it belongs here now." He pressed the chain into her hand. Her fingers closed around it slowly. "You trust me with your blood?" He nodded. "I already did. You saved me when no one else did. You stayed when your people turned their backs, and you never once asked for anything in return." She looked at the pendant for a long moment. Then she pulled a thin red thread from her belt pouch, once part of her own tribal robe. She tied it to the chain and handed it back. "Now it carries 2 stories," she whispered. Jake smiled. "Then I'll wear it proudly." Before sleep came, they lay near the fire, eyes on the stars above the cave entrance. Momu lay between them, softly glowing, twitching in sleep. "I wonder," Jake said, "how many other humans and aliens are out there, scared to trust? Scared to connect?" "Many," Rena answered, "but maybe stories like ours will reach them." Jake closed his eyes. "Maybe we'll be the first chapter." The fire flickered low, but the warmth didn't fade, because the warmth wasn't from the flames. It was from 2 souls that should have never met, but did, and chose each other, freely, without fear. Under alien stars, they found what neither world could give them: a new kind of home, a new kind of warmth, and a bond stronger than blood.